If you want to see how I went from 145 kilos, couldn't run more than a couple of hundred meters, and could barely make it up Castle Hill to an Ironman, then stick around.
You can do this the first time and get it right and make it stick with the right mindset, because I believe this is the key to the process of change. It's not your diet, it's not your food, it's not your exercise, it's not anything else other than your mindset. All of the other things are a flow-on effect from having the right mindset in the first place. So let me run you through how I made this change in my life. First and foremost, you have to take responsibility. You have to admit the truth of the situation that you're in. I think for me personally, starting with the truth was one of the key foundations of my success. You can't deny where you're at. If you're fat, you're fat. If you're horribly unfit, you're horribly unfit. There's no point in sugarcoating it or pretending that it's something that it isn't. It's not about blame. It's not about blaming yourself for where you are. It's about taking responsibility and admitting to yourself where you are. A lot of times I think people want to, sugarcoat's not even the best way to describe it, but you want to give yourself an out, make it sound better than it is. Give yourself a little hug, and that's not the best place to start. First and foremost, you need to start with the truth. You can't solve a problem until you admit that there is a problem to solve. And so I think if you want long-term success, if you want to make sure that this process is going to work for you, you need to start with that mindset. Get it right, be honest, and start with that. And as I said, it's not about blame. It's about looking in the mirror and going, I'm unfit, I'm fat, I got into this place. And that's the truth. I think there is a lot of sugarcoating that goes on in the world these days. And I guess that's fine if you're happy with where you're at. But part of this honesty is about really figuring out whether you are happy with where you're at. Because a lot of people say they're happy with their dad bod, or, my love handles are sexy, or whatever you want to say. Now, if that's really how you feel, then that's great. Go with that. I'm not telling you to change who you are. But if your honest conversation with yourself is that you're actually unhappy with your dad bod or your love handles or whatever it is, then be honest. Be honest about the fact that you want to change it. Be honest about the fact that you want to do something. And it's not right or wrong. It's not for anybody else to judge. This is you deciding what you want for yourself. So be honest, drop all of the bullshit, and have a strong conversation with yourself about who you are and where you want to get to and what you want to be. And let's be honest for the rest of the journey. One of the things I learned very early in this process is that, and I kind of learned it from business as much as I did from this process, but is that if you don't take responsibility for where you are, then you can't change. If it's someone else that caused the problem, if it's some other thing that has all the power over you, then you're stuffed. You can't change that. You can't change the world you live in. Well, theoretically you can, but it's much more difficult. If you take responsibility for where you are, it's not your parents' fault, it's not society's fault, it's you that got here. Take that responsibility, and then you have the power to change it. If someone else did something to you, you can't fix that, you can't change it. You might be able to accept it or let it go, but you can't change it. If you take that responsibility, it's you that got you here. It's you that can change your eating habits, your exercise habits, your thinking, all of those things. Then you have the power. And you always want the power in your life. Don't ever give your power up. You want the power to change you and be in control of who you want to be. So make that change today. Second important thing to do if you want to get on a journey for weight loss or fitness is you need to set yourself a destination or a goal. I don't like to be, my preference is not to do a weight specific goal, because the truth is, if like me, you were like 55 kilos overweight when you started this journey, you honestly don't know, you're guessing at what your ideal weight should be anyway. So you don't really know what you need to be, so don't be so specific. Set yourself, like I did, I set a goal for to do an Ironman. Now, I'm not suggesting that everybody has to do an Ironman, because as much fun as that is, it's probably not for everybody. But what it did was it meant that I could not think about what weight I had to be as much as I had to think about the logistics of completing an Ironman. At 145 kilos, there was no way I was going to be able to complete an Ironman. So I had to get my weight down and increase my fitness at the same time. So for me, that was a real key. I needed to know when I needed to get this done by and what the goal was. And I set a big goal because I needed the right kind of motivation. And I even went so far as to put all my stuff on YouTube, which you obviously don't have to do, but for me that just felt like the right thing to do, because I wanted to make myself accountable. Setting something like this, so there's a couple of reasons why I prefer an event-based goal or destination to just as a weight. It's really easy to get lost on the journey to a certain number of kilos or pounds. Like, let's be honest, if you're watching this, you've probably been here before. This is not your first rodeo, as they say. So, why do we fail when we're trying to just go towards a certain number of kilos? Because it doesn't mean anything to us. There's no payoff other than achieving some number that we thought would be meaningful to us. When you affix an event like I did, like the Ironman, not only does it give more meaning to your journey, but it also gives other people around you more to cheer for, I guess is probably the best way to put it. If they know that you're aiming for some event, then they can cheer you on about that, rather than just saying, hey, you've lost a half a kilo this week, yay. So I think that's one of the main reasons. The second reason is that you don't live longer just because you lose weight. If I lost all my weight and kept eating the same shit, didn't do any exercise, that's not going to add to my lifespan, and it's certainly not going to add to my enjoyment of life. So for me, losing weight was as much, if not more, about being fit than it was about losing weight, because you can be a little bit overweight and super fit and have a really great life and live longer than someone who's the right weight, who's not fit at all. And there's lots of statistics out there that will back that up. So that's the other reason why the weight target isn't as important as the fitness target. So they're my two main reasons for that goal, being something like a half marathon, a marathon, whatever it is, a cycling race, a swimming race. It doesn't matter what it is at the end of the day, only that you can't do it now, and you're going to need to work hard to get there to achieve that goal, because you need to have that. And it doesn't matter how far away it is. Like mine was 18 months away before I got to my goal, but I needed that really, to get fit enough to be able to complete the Ironman. The other bonus aspect of setting a more of a fitness related goal at a distance is that it gives you something to look past. It gives you the ability to look past today's problem and see a bigger picture. Because you're going to have days where you don't eat right, you're going to have days where the exercise routine doesn't go right, all of those things are going to happen. So you need to be able to go, that's okay, tomorrow's another day, and get back on the horse, so to speak. So I think making sure that you have something long term that is big enough to keep you moving in the right direction is a key factor as well. The third key for me is finding someone who can help you and support you. You can call them whatever you like, a buddy, a support person. Let me take it back one. It is possible to do this journey alone, but it is a lot harder. I've been really lucky. My wife is super supportive, my family is supportive, and my best mate has been in it with me from the start in a supportive way. So I think whilst you can do this by yourself, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier if you've got someone to turn to, someone who can help you in those times when you aren't strong yourself, or you just need a little kick in the bum or a pat on the back or whatever it is that you might need. I think having someone who can help you with those things is so important. There's two things you want a support person for. One is to share this with. So, and when I say share, I mean you need to be honest with this person. So the first step of this process was to be honest with yourself. If you can be honest with a support person, share the reasons, share the how did I get here part with them, then you're decreasing the burden that you have to carry yourself. Honesty is great and it is a helpful way to shed some of the burden, but splitting the load with someone else will also help immensely in this process. And it also, I think, will help you just drop some of that metaphorical weight just by sharing the words with someone else. The second part is that you need someone to help keep you accountable. Part of the reason I put my journey on YouTube in the first place was just to keep myself accountable. But if you can have someone else who will help you be accountable, will help you keep true to your goals and your destination, that's a huge help. You can't underestimate that little pat on the back every now and then, the little text message you get, the whatever it is. I think one of the things I would probably do differently if I had to do this again would be finding someone who or arranging with my best mate or whoever that support person is, just every day have that little text message in the morning. How's it going today? You're on top of things, you're good to go. Just that little bit of gentle reminder, gentle encouragement to be moving in the right direction. I think that would be a really good daily reminder of, don't forget, this is the path you're on, you've shared this with me, I'm going to help you get there. That kind of process, I think that would be really beneficial. So find yourself a support person, someone who can help you, someone who can share the burden. It'll make the whole thing a hell of a lot easier. The fourth tip, or the fourth key, is to understand your self-talk. What is going on inside your brain, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it, because there are all of those aspects inside each of our self-talk. Now it's time to change the conversation that's going on inside your head. What your subconscious does on a daily basis really impacts your life, and you need to understand what you are saying to yourself, and then you need to work through how do you change that conversation and make it a more positive one. Remember that your mind controls your body and you control your mind. So it's time to put that into action to benefit you rather than hold you back. The first step is to just pay attention to what your self-talk is. Now, this can be a little bit weird, and I can probably make an entire video about this, but in a basic sense, you want to catch what you're saying to yourself. When you think about food, when you think about exercise, when you think about those kind of aspects that you are looking to change, catch your conversation, listen to what your brain is saying to you, and then make some notes about that. So if your response to things is a particular way, then understand this is not a blame, this is not a kick yourself, this is not a make you feel bad part. There's no right or wrong here, but what you want to do is flip your conversation from a negative conversation where you are, if you have the wrong thing to eat, or you miss an episode of exercise or whatever it might be, there's no point in punishing yourself. You can kick that bad conversation out of your head, tell yourself you'll be back again tomorrow. Or if it's about the conversation you have about food in general, why do you the thing that you're telling yourself when you eat the wrong foods, those are the things that you want to start to work through changing. I can give you a couple of good examples for me personally. One of the things that I used to say to myself is that I enjoyed the food that I was eating, and I didn't want to have to be some weirdo salad eating crazy person who just lived on rabbit food, because I wouldn't enjoy that. Now, whilst that might sound legitimate, what it was really me saying was that I didn't want to change. Because the truth was that I didn't feel good after I ate a McDonald's meal or any of that shit that I used to eat. I didn't actually feel good at all. There was nothing about that made me feel good. But my mind was telling me that made me feel good, and so I needed to catch that lie and then change it to be the truth. And so the truth is that now I eat, I had a salad for lunch today and I feel really great afterwards. So you have to catch those lies, make sure you turn them into the truth, and use that power for good rather than evil. The other aspect of your mental voice is planting some positive seeds in there. So now this might seem a little woo-woo to some people, but I can assure you that this does work. So we have these messages that we tell ourselves subconsciously, continuously. A lot of them come from your exposure to things in life, but they're there. So if you think that it's really hard to make money, and that only certain people get rich, and there's no easy way to do this, and everything's going to be hard, that message you're telling yourself is a really destructive message. Same thing goes for food. So if you or weight loss or getting fit, if your message to yourself all the time is, this is going to be super hard, I'm never going to get it done, it's going to be, that whole message needs to change. And the easiest way to do that is to plant seeds of positive thoughts in there. My personal preference is to use mantras. So I will, at the moment, whenever I have a sauna, I will sit in the sauna and I have my 3 main mantras that help to change the way that I think about things. The second mantra, so the first one is that I love and approve of myself. So it's just giving yourself a message of positivity that really can change that mental conversation that you have in your head. The second one for me is money comes easily and frequently. I grew up thinking money was really hard to get or come by, and I needed to change that message, because there is plenty of it out there in the world for everybody, and it is not as hard to get enough for yourself as what you think. So that's a really good message to change for everybody. Again, a whole other video available there. And the third one for me is I lose fat fast and easy. So rather than having that mental roadblock of this is going to take me forever, I don't know how I'm going to do this, all of that stuff, just start changing those messages. These mantras work really well if you say them into the mirror. They work better out loud, but you can just start by saying them inside your own mind. There are tons of things that you can look up on the internet about this, different messages. You can make your own, you don't have to copy mine, whatever works for you, but you need to start working on that internal dialogue so that it starts to become more positive. You want to think of this like a garden, your mind like a garden. You want to pull the weeds out and you want to plant pretty flowers. That's what you want to do. So all of those negative thoughts are weeds, pull them out, don't let them grow. Plant flowers instead. And this will take some time. Can't do it overnight, but the more you do it, the easier everything will get. So please, if you take nothing out of this video other than this, then it will have been a huge success, because this will change your life. So now that I've shared those 4 tips with you, I want to take you back to why you're here in the first place. What you want to do is lay a strong foundation to start this process from. Getting that foundation strong in your mind is the key. And once you've laid that strong foundation in your mind, then you can start the basics in terms of getting yourself fitter, thinner, stronger. And that really basically can start with making sure that you get 10,000 steps a day. Start counting your calories and understanding what you are putting into your body, because you can't fix that until you understand what's going in. But you don't have to start with huge steps. The main reason for starting with the mind first is because you're going to have to tackle some things through this process that aren't going to be easy if you want them to change for good, not just some crash diet that ends in 6 months and then you go back to everything that you did before. If you want real change, then you have to start with your mind, get that right, and then everything you lay down over the top of that, whatever diet you pick, whatever exercise regime you pick, all of those things will work far, far better when you've got a strong mental approach to begin with. So I wish you all the best on your journey, and I would love to hear from you in the comments if you think that there's anything else that I could add to this.